You walked up to her. She smiled at you, and you leaned in for a hug. It lasted maybe 2 seconds, maybe less, and on the surface, nothing went wrong. But something shifted, something you didn't see, something you didn't feel. But she did. She felt it immediately. And here's what's strange. She didn't pull away. She didn't say anything. She didn't give you a weird look. She just filed it away. Quietly. Internally. The way women always do. Because most men have no idea that a simple hug can tell a woman everything she needs to know about you. Not your words. Not your outfit. Not the compliment you rehearsed in the car. A hug. 2 seconds of physical contact. And in those 2 seconds, she already made a quiet decision about how she feels around you. Most men never learn this. Not because they are bad men, but because no one ever told them that women are reading energy the way men read faces. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly what happens in those 2 seconds. What most men get wrong. What she notices that you don't. And what confident men do differently without even thinking about it. Stay with me. Because once you understand this, you'll never hug a woman the same way again. Now, before I tell you the mistake, I need you to understand something first. A hug seems simple. It seems like the most basic, automatic thing two people can do when they greet each other. You open your arms. She opens hers. You come together. You separate. Done? Right? No? Not even close. Because to you, a hug is just a greeting. But to her, a hug is information. Quiet information. The kind she processes without even trying. She's not analyzing it with her logical mind. She's not thinking in words. She's feeling. And what she feels in that hug tells her things about you that you haven't even said yet. It tells her about your confidence. It tells her about your comfort level. It tells her about the energy you carry in your body. It tells her whether you're relaxed or performing, whether you're grounded or nervous, whether you're present or already somewhere else in your head. All of that in 2 seconds. And here's the part that makes this so important. If the hug feels off, she won't tell you. She won't correct you. She won't say, "Hey, that hug felt a little weird." She'll just feel slightly less drawn to you. And she won't even know why. That's the thing about attraction that most people misunderstand. It doesn't always drop because of something big. Sometimes it drops because of something so small, so subtle, that neither person can point to it. But the feeling shifts. And once it shifts, it's very hard to get it back. So let me tell you what the mistake actually is. Because it's not what you think. It's not about how long the hug lasts. It's not about where you put your hands. It's not even about whether you hug her with one arm or two. The mistake is something deeper than mechanics. The mistake is hugging with nervous energy. Let me explain what that looks like. Because you've probably done it without realizing. You see her. Maybe she's someone you find attractive. Maybe it's a first date. Maybe it's someone you've been talking to, and this is the first time you're meeting in person. And in that moment right before the hug, something happens inside you. A small spike of tension. A subtle tightness in your chest. A thought that flashes through your mind faster than you can catch it. Something like, "Don't mess this up." Or, "Is she into me?" Or, "Should I hug her?" Or, "Is that too much?" And that tension, that inner hesitation, leaks into your body. You don't notice it. But she does. Because now the hug becomes rushed. You lean in too quickly. You pull away too fast. Your arms barely commit. Your upper body angles in, but your hips pull back like part of you is already retreating. Or you do this half hug thing where one arm comes up and taps her shoulder like you're congratulating a coworker on a quarterly report. It's not warm. It's not calm. It's not confident. It's mechanical. And mechanical is the opposite of what creates connection. Here's what I need you to understand about women. Women are wired to detect safety and threat through nonverbal signals. This isn't something they learn. This is something that's built into them. Generations of survival have made women incredibly sensitive to body language, to tone, to micro-expressions, and most importantly, to the energy a man carries in his body. When a man is calm, truly calm, not performing calm, but actually settled in his own skin, a woman feels that. Her nervous system registers it. And it feels like safety. Not safety in a boring way. Safety in a way that lets her relax. That lets her open up. That lets her actually be present with you instead of quietly guarding herself. But when a man is nervous, even slightly, even if he's hiding it well, her body picks up on it. And something in her contracts. Not dramatically. Not visibly. Just a quiet internal pulling back. A subtle wall going up. And that wall might stay up the entire night. Not because you did something terrible, but because the very first physical interaction, the hug, already told her nervous system that something about you was unsettled. An unsettled energy does not create attraction. It creates distance. Quiet, invisible, hard to name distance. The kind where the date goes fine on paper, but she texts her friend afterward and says, "I don't know. Something just felt off." That something was the hug. That something was the energy behind it. That something was you, not being fully comfortable in your own body in that moment. And that's not a judgment. That's just the truth of how women experience men. Now let me take you deeper into what happens inside her mind. Because this is where most men lose the thread. They think attraction is about what you say. They think it's about having the right line, the right joke, the right compliment at the right time. But women don't fall into attraction through words. They fall into attraction through feeling. And feeling starts in the body, not in conversation. When you hug a woman and your energy is nervous, her body receives that information before her conscious mind even processes it. This is not something she controls. This is her nervous system doing what it was designed to do. It scans. It reads. It evaluates. And it decides, in fractions of a second, whether the person in front of her is safe, grounded, and worth opening up to. Or not. When your hug feels rushed, when your arms feel stiff, when your body pulls away before the embrace even has a chance to land, her system registers one thing. This man is not settled. And when a man is not settled, a woman cannot relax. It's that simple. She might still smile. She might still talk to you. She might still sit across from you at dinner and nod at everything you say. But inside, something is closed. Something is watching instead of connecting. And you'll feel it too, even if you can't name it. You'll feel like the conversation is polite but flat. Like she's being nice but not warm. Like the energy between you is correct but not alive. And you'll wonder what you did wrong. You'll replay your words. You'll question your outfit. You'll think maybe she just wasn't interested. But the truth is, it started before any of that. It started in the hug. Because the hug was your first physical statement. And your body said something your mouth never did. It said, "I'm not sure I belong here." Now let me tell you something most people never talk about. Women make silent decisions. Decisions they never announce. Decisions they sometimes don't even fully understand themselves. They decide in the first few minutes of meeting you whether your energy feels right. And that decision isn't intellectual. It's primal. It lives in the body. And once it's made, it's very difficult to reverse. A woman can decide you're attractive from your photos, from your voice on the phone, from the way you texted her. But the moment she meets you in person and the physical energy doesn't match, something inside her recalibrates. Quietly, without warning, and usually without explanation. She'll say things like, "He was nice, but I just didn't feel it." Or, "There wasn't really a spark." Or, "I don't know what it was, something just felt off." That something is almost always energy. And the hug is often where that energy is first transmitted. Think about it. A hug is the first time your body speaks to hers. Before that, it's all visual, all verbal, all filtered through screens and distance. But the hug is raw. It's physical. It's immediate. And there's nowhere to hide in it. Your body will either say, "I'm comfortable being close to you," or it will say, "I'm not sure I should be this close." And she will feel whichever one it is. Not think it. Feel it. That's the difference most men miss. They try to manage what a woman thinks. But attraction isn't built in her thoughts. It's built in her body, in her chest, in her gut, in the way her shoulders either soften or stay tense. And your hug is one of the very first things that determines which direction those shoulders go. Let me tell you something about the nervous system that most people overlook. When two people come into physical contact, their nervous systems actually communicate. This isn't metaphor. This is biology. Your body temperature, your muscle tension, your breathing rhythm, your heart rate, all of these things are being transmitted through touch. And a woman's body is receiving all of it. When your muscles are tight, she feels rigidity. When your breathing is shallow, she senses anxiety. When you pull away too quickly, she registers rejection. Not conscious rejection. Not intentional rejection. But her body interprets the speed of your withdrawal as a signal. A signal that says, "I'm not fully here." And when a man is not fully present in his body during a moment of closeness, a woman's system responds by pulling inward, by protecting, by closing off the part of her that was beginning to open. And that's the tragedy of the nervous hug. It's not that you did something wrong. It's that your body communicated something you didn't mean. You meant warmth. You meant connection. You meant, "I'm glad to see you." But what landed was uncertainty. And uncertainty is the enemy of attraction. Not rudeness. Not arrogance. Not even awkwardness in the charming sense. Uncertainty. Because uncertainty tells her nervous system that you're not sure of yourself. And if you're not sure of yourself, she can't be sure of you either. That's not a choice she makes. That's a reflex. The same way you pull your hand away from a hot surface before your brain even registers the heat. Her body pulls back from uncertain energy before her mind even names what it felt. Tell me in the comments, what usually shifts first for you when you're meeting someone new? Is it something they say, or something you feel before a single word is spoken? I want you to really sit with that. Because this is the part most men skip over. They jump straight to technique. They want to know where to put their hands, how long to hold, whether to squeeze or keep it light. And none of that matters if the energy underneath is shaky. You can have perfect form and still make her uncomfortable if your body is broadcasting tension. And you can have the most casual, imperfect hug in the world and still make her melt if your energy is warm and settled. Because it was never about the hug itself. It was always about what the hug revealed. And what it reveals is your relationship with yourself. Whether you're at home in your own body. Whether you're comfortable with closeness. Whether you can be near a woman you find attractive without losing your center. That's what she's feeling for. Not your technique. Your truth. The truth your body tells when your mouth hasn't said a word yet. And that truth either invites her in or quietly asks her to keep her distance. Most men have no idea this is happening. But now you do. And that changes everything. Because once you understand what she's actually responding to, you stop trying to perform. You stop rehearsing. You stop overthinking every micro-movement. And you start doing the only thing that actually works. You start getting honest with your own body. You start noticing where you hold tension. You start paying attention to your breath when you're around someone you're attracted to. You start recognizing the difference between performing confidence and actually feeling it. And that recognition, that awareness, is where everything begins to shift. Not in your technique. In your presence. Now let me show you what it looks like when a man gets this right. Because I don't want to leave you with just the mistake. I want you to see the contrast. I want you to feel the difference. A confident man walks toward a woman and there's no rush in his body. His steps are steady. His shoulders are down. His breathing is even. He's not calculating the hug. He's not running a script in his head. He's simply arriving. And when he opens his arms, they open fully. Not wide and dramatic. Just naturally. Like a door that opens without being forced. He doesn't lean in too fast. He doesn't angle his body away. He doesn't tap her back twice like he's trying to signal that the hug should end. He simply holds the moment. For 1 second. Maybe 2. Just enough for the warmth to land. And then he releases. Calmly. Without urgency. Without apology. Like the hug was the most natural thing in the world. Because to him, it was. And do you know what that does to a woman? It tells her nervous system something rare. It tells her this man is comfortable with himself. And that single message, transmitted through nothing more than a calm, unhurried embrace, does more for attraction than an hour of clever conversation ever could. Because comfort is magnetic. Not the kind of comfort that comes from being passive. Not the kind that means you don't care. But the kind that says, I'm here. I'm not performing. And I don't need you to validate me. That kind of comfort is rare. And women feel it instantly. It's in the steadiness of your arms. It's in the even rhythm of your chest. It's in the way you don't pull away like you've touched something you shouldn't have. It's in the warmth that lingers for a half second after the hug ends. That half second matters more than you think. Because it tells her you weren't rushing to escape the closeness. You were at ease in it. And a man who is at ease in closeness is a man a woman feels safe being close to. That's the equation. It's not complicated. It's not a trick. It's the simplest thing in the world. Be comfortable in your own skin, and she will be comfortable near you. Let me tell you something about what confident men don't do. They don't announce the hug. They don't say, come here, bring it in that overly loud way that's trying to mask nervousness with volume. They don't narrate the interaction. They just move. Naturally. Quietly. And their body says everything their words don't need to. They also don't freeze. They don't stand 3 feet away and wait for her to initiate. They don't hover in that awkward zone where neither person knows if a hug is happening or not. That hovering, by the way, is another form of nervous energy. It's the body saying, I want to be close, but I'm afraid of getting it wrong. And that hesitation creates tension. Not romantic tension. Anxious tension. The kind that makes both people uncomfortable without knowing why. A confident man removes that tension by simply acting. Not aggressively. Not forcefully. Just naturally. He reads the moment. He sees her body language. If she's open, he steps in. If she's more reserved, he adjusts. But he doesn't freeze. He doesn't overthink. He trusts himself to read the room. And that trust, that quiet self-trust, is what she actually finds attractive. Not the hug itself. The energy behind it. The unspoken message that says, I don't need to rehearse being around you. I know how to be here. That message is everything. Now let me take this one level deeper. Because I think you're ready for it. The reason most men hug with nervous energy is not because they don't know how to hug. It's because they haven't dealt with their relationship to closeness. Think about that. When was the last time you were genuinely comfortable being physically close to someone you found attractive? Not performing comfort. Not pretending to be relaxed while your heart was hammering in your chest. But actually, truly at ease. For most men, that's rare. Because closeness brings vulnerability. And vulnerability triggers fear. Not dramatic fear. Not fight or flight fear. But a quieter version. The fear of being seen. The fear of being judged. The fear that if she gets close enough, she'll sense something in you that isn't good enough. And that fear lives in your body. It lives in the tension in your shoulders. In the tightness in your arms. In the way you hold your breath for a fraction of a second right before contact. You don't notice it. But she does. Because her body is listening to yours. And what your body is saying in that moment is, I don't fully trust myself in this space. That's the root of the nervous hug. It's not about technique. It's about self-trust. And until you build that trust, no amount of advice about hand placement or hug duration is going to change what she feels. Because what she feels is you. Not your strategy. Not your plan. You. The real, unfiltered, physical you that shows up in the first 2 seconds of contact. And that version of you is either settled or unsettled. Either grounded or grasping. Either present or performing. There's no faking it. Not with a hug. Because a hug is one of the few interactions where your body speaks louder than your mouth. And your body doesn't know how to lie. So the real work isn't learning how to hug better. The real work is learning how to be in your own body without apology. How to take up space without needing permission. How to be close to someone without abandoning yourself in the process. That's the real lesson here. And once you get it, hugs stop being something you think about. They become something you simply do. With ease. With presence. With the kind of warmth that makes a woman exhale when she steps into your arms. Not because you performed well, but because you felt like home. And that feeling, that quiet, unforced, fully present feeling, is the thing women talk about when they say, there was just something about him. There was no trick. There was no technique. There was just a man who was comfortable enough in himself that his body said all the right things without trying. Let me bring this full circle now. Because I don't want you to walk away from this thinking this is just about hugs. It's not. The hug is just the doorway. What we are really talking about is something much bigger. We are talking about the way you carry yourself. The way your body communicates before your words do. The way your energy arrives in a room before you even open your mouth. And the way women read that energy with a precision that most men will never fully appreciate. Every interaction you have with a woman, from the first glance to the first touch, is a transmission. You are always broadcasting something. Confidence or insecurity. Presence or distraction. Warmth or distance. And you don't get to choose what she receives. You only get to choose what you transmit. And what you transmit comes from one place. Your relationship with yourself. If you are at war with yourself, your body will show it. If you are uncomfortable in your own skin, your touch will reveal it. If you are seeking approval, your energy will beg for it. And she will feel all of it. Not because she is judging you, but because her body is designed to read yours. It's not personal. It's primal. It's the same system that kept women alive for thousands of years. The ability to read a man's intentions through his body before he ever speaks them. And that system doesn't turn off because we live in modern times. It doesn't disappear because the date is at a nice restaurant. It's always running, always scanning, always listening. And when it picks up calm, grounded, settled energy, it opens. When it picks up nervous, scattered, uncertain energy, it closes. That's the whole game. Not what you say. Not what you wear. Not what car you drove or what cologne you put on. How you feel inside your own body when you're standing next to her. That's what determines whether she leans in or pulls back. That's what determines whether the night feels electric or flat. That's what determines whether she texts you the next morning or lets your message sit unanswered. And it starts, often, with something as small as a hug. Now I want to talk to you about something most content like this never addresses. Identity. Because this isn't about fixing a behavior. This is about shifting who you are at the level of your nervous system. You don't need to memorize the perfect hug. You don't need a checklist. You don't need to practice in the mirror. What you need is to become the kind of man whose body naturally communicates ease. And that doesn't happen through tips. It happens through inner work. It happens when you start paying attention to where you hold tension in your body. When you notice that your shoulders rise every time you're around someone you find attractive. When you catch yourself holding your breath during moments of closeness. When you feel that urge to rush through physical contact because some part of you believes you don't deserve to linger. That's where the real shift begins. Not in what you do, in what you notice about yourself. Because awareness changes everything. The moment you start observing your own nervous system, you begin to change it. Not by forcing relaxation. Not by pretending to be calm. But by simply witnessing the tension without reacting to it. That's how you rewire your body. Slowly. Gently. Through presence, not performance. And as your body learns to settle, something remarkable happens. Your interactions with women begin to change. Not because you learned a new trick, but because you became a different man. A man whose body says, I'm here. I'm not afraid. And I'm not going anywhere. That's magnetic. That's attractive. And that's the thing no technique will ever replicate. You can fake confidence in your words. You can fake it in your posture for a few minutes. But you cannot fake it in a hug. Because a hug requires you to be close. And closeness reveals everything. It reveals whether your calm is real or rehearsed. Whether your confidence lives in your spine or just in your script. Whether your warmth is something you feel or something you perform. And she will know the difference. Every single time. So if you take one thing from everything I've said today, let it be this. Stop trying to fix the hug. Start working on the man behind it. Build a relationship with your own body. Learn to be still inside your own skin. Practice being close to people without needing to escape, without needing to rush, without needing the moment to be over so you can stop feeling exposed. Because the man who can stand in closeness without flinching is the man women feel safest with. And safety, real safety, not the boring kind, not the predictable kind, but the deep, nervous system level kind, that is the foundation of every meaningful attraction a woman has ever felt. She doesn't fall for the man with the best words. She falls for the man whose presence lets her exhale. Think about the last time you hugged someone you were drawn to. Did your body settle into the moment? Or did it rush through it? Did you feel grounded? Or did you feel like you were performing? Be honest with yourself. Because that honesty is the first step toward becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to think about how to hug a woman. He just does it. And it feels right. For both of them. That's not a skill. That's a state of being. And it's available to every man who's willing to stop performing and start being present. When things finally start making sense. When patterns become clear. Come back to Lies Unmasked and tell me thank you. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.